Hello everyone, I am Claudia Morales with the Music Division, and today I'm super excited to be in conversation with the wonderful harpist, composer, band leader, and educator, Brandy Younger. Brandy, welcome to the library.
Thank you so much for having me here. It's so exciting.
Oh, we are excited to have you here, so thank you. So before we sat down for this conversation, we had a chance to look through some materials from our collection. What did you see and what caught your eye the most?
Oh my gosh, it's incredible. So that letter from Nina Simone to Hazel Scott, that was special. And to see the Alice Coltrane manuscripts in her handwriting, super, super cool. And also the Beethoven. I mean, all of it. It's really cool to see people's process and see how they're human, or if they're human, and to note similar processes to my own and also my colleagues.
Yeah.
It's really incredible.
Yeah, to see the person behind, right?
Yeah.
The human behind, yeah, for sure.
Or what the music either started as, because sometimes it starts as paper, and sometimes it starts as the recording and turns into the paper.
So you're here with us for a performance that's happening at the Coolidge. And as I said, a wonderful harpist, but I know that the harp is not your first instrument.
Oh, you
Right?
do know that. You're right, but most people don't know that.
What is that?
I played flute first. I played flute in, I guess I started in elementary school, through junior high, through high school, and then in high school, my band director said, "We're short brass, I'm throwing you on trombone." So I actually swapped to trombone somewhere in high school, and marching band was really, that was my thing, that was my strength, and that was my strong point. And I know that's like opposite of harp.
Did you do marching band for the entire high school years?
Absolutely, it was dedicated.
And then, why harp? That's a big change.
I know, well, I started harp when I was maybe 11 or 12, but I had to take private lessons because a lot of the schools don't have harp programs. There was a woman at my father's job who played as a hobby, and my parents said, "Well, our daughter's musical, can we bring her over to your house?" We did some flute and harp duets, and she said, if she were to take lessons, I know a teacher that works well with kids, she's likely to get a scholarship. And she said this to my parents, and parents, that's their favorite word. And because the instrument is so rare. So that's what happened. I actually took up the instrument and got a scholarship to school. I had no idea what my future held for me, but that's how it started.
Did you have a harp at home at that time?
So we rented a harp from my teacher, and it's a smaller harp. It's
Yeah.
not the concert size that you
Yeah.
see today. It's
Yeah.
like, they kind of like lure you in with the small one, and then when it's time to graduate to the large one, it's like, well, would you like to take out another mortgage?
At what age did you transition into the standard adult size harp?
I started before I got one. I would start to take my lessons on my teacher's larger harp, because the big harp, it costs a lot of money.
I know. That was my next question, yeah.
It costs a lot of money, but my teacher saw promise, and she was really, really lenient with our pay schedule,
Okay.
with our payment schedule.
Yeah.
So if it wasn't for her, I don't think I'd be able to, would have been able to do the switch.
So did you practice at home with her harp?
No, eventually we rented the pedal harp from her directly as
Okay.
well.
Okay. And I'm asking all these questions because I seen in the past when I worked at youth orchestras, the parents bring in the harp, because we didn't have a harp at that time. So I'm like,
It is a commitment
it's a commitment.
for the whole family. And if you don't have a large enough car, you either need to borrow someone's car or get a new car that's large enough to carry a harp. So it is a commitment really for the whole family.
So it was your father with you, like helping you to transport the harp to gigs and to
Early on, my
performances?
parents didn't even have a large enough vehicle. My grandmother's boyfriend had a van,
Ah, okay.
and he would drive me to orchestra, or my parents would
Yeah.
take the van. But then he passed away, and we were like, uh-oh. But that's when people from church helped out. My mom's coworker helped out. People knew that I was playing and had to get to orchestra, so they would swap cars. It was really a community,
Wow, it's a community.
a community affair, yeah.
Wow. And what do your friends say when you say, well, you know what? I'm ditching the trombone and I'm going with the harp.
They knew I played harp, and in high school I lived on the same block as the high school, so
Okay.
sometimes they see me wheeling it down the street.
Ah, okay.
It was weird, but it's something like with anything you get used to it. Sort of like my little brother randomly knows all the harp repertoire in his head because he grew up just hearing me play it over and over and over again. They got used to it. It is a little strange at first.
Speaking of the repertoire, we just saw some copyright deposits from Dorothy Ashby and from Alice Coltrane. And I'm curious to know your connection with those two women and the place that they hold in your career as a harpist yourself.
It goes really deep. You know, early on studying harp, the repertoire that I played, I did it, I was required to do it. You study this, you have your method books, you're playing your, your beginner little pieces. And I just never really felt a connection to it. Even later on, playing in orchestra, I didn't feel connected to the repertoire that I was playing. So it really wasn't until I heard Alice Coltrane's music and Dorothy Ashby's music. You're hearing a harp in the context as a rhythm section instrument with bass and drums. So automatically I was relating to it much more because there's a groove. And what I was used to listening to at home, everything had a groove, whether it was gospel or R&B or hip hop, there was always a groove. So that was the immediate thing that made me go, what's that? The harp can do that? Hold on. And that was a game changer. It completely rewired how I saw the instrument. And my teacher was so cool. As long as I did what was required, I would come in with like cassettes or CDs of stuff on the radio, and she would write me out a lead sheet so that I can learn it. But also, these women were Black, and they were women. So it was like, whoa, playing the harp, you don't see yourself much, especially when I was younger. You don't see many Black harpists. So to see someone who looked like me, that was playing music that I could relate to, and then also they were playing jazz in a boys' club. I was like, these women are incredible. This is great. Why isn't anyone else checking this out? In the harp world. Why aren't you guys listening to this?
So going into your musical journey in 2023, you have a brand new life, and you got the AANCP award with this album.
Yes, the Image Award.
Yes, and then this album's pretty much dedicated to her.
Yeah, so I had some music of Dorothy Ashby's, sort of like you have here at the Library of Congress, and a lot of it was music that had never been recorded. So I said, I called a couple friends and said, what if we record this music? Not the way she would have done it, but like the way we want to do it. So we did that. So there's some brand new stuff on there, and also a couple of covers and a couple of originals that I wrote as well. So that was a fun album. And also just in trying to honor the lineage, one of the first producer to sample her stuff, because she sampled so heavily by producers and rappers in hip hop. Pete Rock was the first to sample her in like 1991. And I said, let me just shoot my shot and ask if he'll be a part of this record. And he said yes. And it was like, for me, I was like, oh my gosh, I can't believe this. And we had Ninth Wonder, who had also sampled her, and Michelle Ndegeocello, who really loves Dorothy Ashby too. So that was a real special project.
And this was your first collaboration with her.
Yes.
How do you get her to say yes?
Oh my gosh. Well, I think I already knew that she was a Dorothy Ashby fan. I think she had sent me a message a couple years prior on Instagram about Dorothy Ashby, and I was like, she loves Dorothy. I'm gonna snatch that, because Michelle's someone that, my colleagues and I, we've always looked up to, and it's like, people seem so far away that you can't get close to them. I guess that's maybe one of one of the upsides to Instagram and social media. We complain about social media, but the other side of it is access to these people that we admire so much. But I did record on the Omnichord Real Book of
Yes.
Michelle's, so that timing kind of worked out perfectly.
And just making a connection with what we saw is also, as you said, the human behind, right? Sometimes we become like this person out there, but everyone's saw
a person.
there's a person behind all this. And this album, you also it is produced by Micaiah
McCraven, yes.
McCraven, yes.
Yeah, so Micaiah he's a drummer and producer that I've worked with for many, many years, and I've known him for many years. I play in his band, and I kept just, you talk about something for a long time. I want to do this Dorothy Ashby music. I want to record this Dorothy Ashby music. You haven't heard it. No one has heard it. And then he was like, I want to be a part of it when you do it. And I kept talking about it and kept talking about it. And then I was like, I'm going to do this record next. And he's like, I want to be a part of it. And then that turned into, we went to Chicago to his home studio, and he recorded it and produced it. Yeah.
That's wonderful.
It was special. That was really
Then,
a passion project.
Going back, 2021,
Yes.
2023, 2021, Somewhere Different.
Yes.
You get nominated
For a Grammy.
for a Grammy
Yeah.
in that very special album. How that project came to be at that time?
That album, Somewhere Different, that was recorded in the pandemic. But that particular composition that was nominated for a Grammy, I knew that the great Ron Carter was going to record. And I wrote that with him in mind. So I'll admit, I took a little more care in the pieces that I knew he was going to record with me on, in a way that I don't with my band. I'll show them ideas, play them ideas. Let's figure this out. I wasn't going to take that approach with Mr. Carter. So yeah, I wrote a ballad called Beautiful is Black. And it was, I always say, people always ask me, about what's so special about like Alice Coltrane's music. And I always say it's authentic, it's genuine, and you kind of can't deny when something is genuine. You're not doing it because the label told you to do it or because of trends in the industry, but just something that speaks to you.
And in the same album, you also collaborated with Tank.
Yeah,
Yes.
Tank from Tank and the Bangers, who I just love.
I know. She
Like-
was here in 2029.
Really? They're one of
Yeah.
my favorite bands, and she's so talented in how she's like crossing genres, which is my thing. I don't like labels on genres. You can just listen to her music and have so much fun. And when you look at who comes to the concert, it's people who of all walks of life, she's got something so special.
Speaking of that, people say that you are pushing boundaries by bringing your harp into different music styles, not just one type of music, but different music styles. And in that way, people compare you with Alice Coltrane and with Dorothy Ashby for that. Is that how you see yourself, as someone who's pushing boundaries?
I didn't think of it as that before, but I can see how it is that. For me, it was, how can I make my instrument relate to who I am and to my friends and family? And culturally, how can I make it relate to me? Because it's like living a double life when you're doing one thing with the harp and then you're going home and acting a whole different kind of way. I said, well, if this instrument is going to be a part of my everyday life, which it has become, it needs to be authentic to who I am as a person. So I think that's really how it happened. Just how can I make this work for me so that it's a part of my culture and my everyday? So that is blending different things.
One identity.
Yeah.
Yeah. One step back, 2020, Force Majeure.
Yes.
I love that recording.
Thank you.
I love it so much. It's so authentic, so unique.
We were just talking about this on a pre-concert talk last night, because that authenticity, we were just talking about how people even still today, they're coming up to the merch table with it. Can you sign this? And telling me just how much that recording impacted them at the time. And I think, for one, everyone was we were all in this weird state of what's happening. We didn't know what was happening. Everyone felt vulnerable. And then there we are on Facebook Live.
We did it too. We did it too.
Facebook Live, just playing. And I was, I wasn't even practicing. It was just playing songs that we wouldn't be playing in a concert, playing songs that we just like. So those songs related to people, the music resonated with people, and it was real, it was raw. It was funny, the album is not perfect because those are lives and we're mistakes all over the place. But I guess that's the thing that really connected with people, and they felt like, we all felt like we were together in the same place and having, it sounds cliche to say that music is healing, and I used to always make fun, but it's absolutely true, and something that I learned in the process of doing those they were like Friday Facebook Lives, subsequently becoming the album. I recorded that on my cell phone, literally on my phone, but just seeing the impact that it still has today, it's like, whoa, my mind is still blown.
And I love that you included sing.
Because who doesn't feel happy when they hear that song?
Who doesn't?
It reminds me of Sesame Street.
You remember the song, right? Sing. You can't help it.
Brittany's
right?
probably too young. But you guys might remember it from Sesame Street.
We all know that song. So it brings me joy.
It's this nostalgia.
It is.
For sure. I was like, Sesame Street, which brings me nothing but happy memories.
And I love to hear your voice in that recording when you say, hi.
I know, because
so-and-so.
So Facebook, you see the comments and people, so I was like, saying hi to my
that's
friends.
What it was. Yes. Okay. That's
that
funny.
was real. These were live streams. This was not recorded.
Yeah. No, I said that we did it too, because at that same time we pivot from presenting in person to presenting online.
I think everyone learned. Everyone gained new skills. Everyone's an engineer. Everyone's a videographer.
Yeah.
Sorry. Everyone's a videographer. Everyone got new skills.
That's right. And around the same time, in a less jolly mode, you do your EP, Unrest.
Yeah.
Unrest 1 and Unrest 2 in the same 2 tracks in that EP.
That was recorded on the same session as Somewhere Different. And it was too long to include on the album.
Okay.
But because it was 2 movements and it was very specific to what was happening, that piece was a commission by an organization called the Jazz Coalition that was created during the pandemic to assist artists. So they commissioned me to write a piece that reflected the time. And I just lean out the window and see all the protests going on. And so I wrote the first movement because, home alone writing, and it's like, well, for solo harp. And I'm trying to make the piece sound like it's representative of this uncomfortable feeling, but I play the harp, so everything is like so pretty. So I was like, all right, I'm gonna have to make a second movement. So I wrote a second movement with bass and drums, and we'll be playing that tonight. So,
but I love those 2 pieces.
Thank you.
And I love your solo movement. And I think it's so powerful. It's very human.
It's real.
It's real. It's very real.
It's real.
Brandy, you have been working so hard.
I know, I'm tired.
For the last, since ever, right?
I know.
And so, as I mentioned, you are a Grammy nominee. You are a AAACP winner. How those 2 nominations help you? Did they help you? Did they propel you in any way?
It's funny. My mom was like, does this mean you'll, from now on, be known as Grammy nominated? The Grammy nomination, I was the first Black woman nominated in that category, which kind of blew my mind, because it's like, we do so much more than sing. We write music too. So that was a little bit strange. In terms of my career as a whole, did it hurt? No, not at all. I think that it helped with some visibility for sure. The NAACP Image Award, my mom, she's just like, this is great. This is the best thing ever. So, because I was nominated actually for Somewhere Different, but then I won the one for Brand New Life. And when it comes to awards and stuff, like, how musicians are, we're just like, thank you, we're grateful, we're humbled, but we're just sort of about the work and going and like write and create and play new music. So it's something I've never really sat and stared at or really taken in. But it's something I put in my bio. Yeah.
Speaking of work, what are you working on right now?
Oh, we finished a new album that's coming out soon. And this was a little bit different. Went upstate New York to my cousin's little cottage so I could isolate myself and write music. And then my bandmates, Alan Mednard and Rashawn Carter, they came up and met me, and we worked out the ideas together. We did some mock recording, and then came home and recorded the album at home in my own apartment over a period of time. So that's why it was really cool to see the process here of how these composers write and then go back and write it over again and change something and write it over again, because that's the process we did. And Rashawn produced the album. I'm a one and done type of person, and he's like the right, do it again, right, change this, do it again. So the process was so long, about 6 months of redoing and redoing and reworking and reworking to finally got the final product. And it's a super personal album, so it feels a little awkward, but I'm really, really happy with it. And in the end, it's really just about being on a journey and making sure that we're able to find happiness along all of life's ebbs and flows, ups and downs, wax and wanes. Hey, Dorothy Ashby.
When are you going to release it?
It'll be out in June.
Okay, wonderful. Speaking of your band, you have a trio.
Yes.
And I have a couple questions for you. You've been together for a long time.
Yeah.
And so how did you guys meet? And why do you keep that trio
Band together?
format? Yeah.
So we've known each other for years. So I met Rashawn actually at the same time that I started working with Ravi Coltrane, which was right after Alice Coltrane passed away in 2007. Rashawn was playing with Jerry Allen at Birdland, and Ravi was playing. So I was there to see Ravi and met Rashawn, and we share a common mentor, Antoine Roney, tenor saxophone player. So we've been close friends and colleagues since then. Al and I met playing with the great singer Morgan James. We were both playing with Morgan James when we met, and he's just an incredible drummer. And I used to have a quintet for years, or at least a quartet, tenor saxophone, and when there was budget, tenor saxophone and flute. And a lot of the music I would write, it was for horns, intentionally, because I was still learning. I mean, I'm always still learning, but I wasn't really ready to kind of throw the harp out front and center. So Somewhere Different was really the first time that I kind of stripped away the horns to kind of let the harp have more of a melodic presence as well as harmonic presence. So with that meant touring with the trio. It forced me to step it up, basically. And we're great. We work very well together. We're like a pretty well-oiled machine, and we're sensitive to each other's needs, which is really important in any band. Any band member will tell you that in any group.
So as we said before, you're here for a concert at the Coolidge Auditorium. What are we expecting tonight?
So you're going to hear Unrest, like you said.
Yes.
You're going to hear a couple of songs from Brand New Life, but you're also going to get sneak peeks of new music off the new record. So you've heard it here first.
You heard it here first.
And of course, we'll do a little bit of Alice Coltrane and Dorothy Ashby, because duh.
Of course, of course, of course. Brandy, thank you so much.
Thank you.
This has been
Thanks for
wonderful.
having me, and thanks for having us here today.
That's wonderful. Thank you. We appreciate you very much.
Thank you.
And from you watching at home, nos vemos de nuevo. See ya.